Hello, thank you for tuning in to the most recent episode. Well, this might be the most recent episode. I mean, it is the most recent episode right now. You may be listening to these out of order. I could have 100 of these before you get to this one. I don't know, but as of right now, this is the most recent episode of How Did I Get Here with the amazing Annie Hart. Annie Hart is of Voix Simone, a band name that I am terrible at pronouncing. Because I didn't watch Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Yeah, Pee Wee's Big Adventure enough as a kid. Anywho, lovely human. We had a really fun chat. I hope you make it to the end because there are questions asked that I find the answers to that I will be giving the answers to at the end of the podcast. So she's got a brand new record out called The Weight of a Wave. And before we dig into A Weight of a Wave, let's listen to a track called Boy, You Got Me Good. All right. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Spinning Platters has been a fan of yours for a while. And yeah, the it was a writer by the name of Rafi who was the one that was like everybody, au revoir Simone. This band's great. So I'm kind of excited that you get that it's coming a little bit full circle, that you get to be part of this thing.
Yeah, how is this connected to spinning platters?
So what's it, I mean, it's our podcast essentially.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Although, yeah, so it's something that I did started in 2020, just in the midst of pandemic depression,
Yeah.
to mostly kind of keep connected to people. And I've enjoyed doing it. And yeah, your publicist reached out and said, "Hey, would you want to do this?" And I like, "Yeah, that would be excellent."
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, every episode of this starts with the same question and ends with the same question. And everything in between can go off the rails in whatever way that we'd like it to. Um, so, what was the musical moment that made you decide that music was your life, your career? I know it's a heavy one, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a song, it could be an experience, it could be finding a synthesizer somewhere in a garbage patch in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I guess there's multiple layers to the answer to this question because, we live in a capitalist society. So, you couldn't make music your life, but not necessarily be paid for it. And those are two very different, you know, there's two different parameters around either of those kind of like life choices or lifestyles, I guess you could say. Um, so I guess I found out in the beginning that I really loved music when I was given a Casio keyboard for Christmas. It was actually a gift for me and my brothers to share, but it quickly became evident that I was the only one who cared about it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that became my fascination and my obsession, and I would spend hours and hours transfixed by that. And then eventually, my family got a piano, and we weren't like a wealthy family, so I didn't have lessons, but I would spend hours and hours playing piano. And I was also homeschooled, so I had an abundance of time.
Wow, homeschooled. So you didn't have like the experience of like hearing music like on the bus to school or
Well, I did go to school starting in sixth grade.
okay.
And
Okay.
then on the way home from high school, from marching band, the after school bus driver would blast Hot 90. Or you're not from New York City, but the Hot 97's old school. So it was like old school hip hop all day for like, 45 minutes as I was on the bus going home.
Uh,
So that was
I-
pretty
I'll
fun.
I'll say your bus ride home from school is 45 minutes. I'm sorry.
Well, you would have to like go drop everybody off because it was after school.
Hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, wow. So Hot 96. So I think you and I are about the same age. You're
Funkmaster Flex was the DJ.
okay. We are about the same age. I didn't grow up with Hot 97 because I grew up in the Bay Area. We had Camille instead, and the much more controversial Davey D as our DJ. If you're familiar with him at all. Oh yeah, he got fired during the Bush administration, I think it was, for like publicly speaking out against the Iraq War on air. Um, yeah, and so
Those were the days, man.
yeah, yeah, it's weird missing those days sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he eventually became an activist and whatnot. But yeah, he was also like he got Cypress Hill banned from KMEL for homophobic remarks and like stuff like that. But this isn't a podcast about you. But yeah, yeah, the classic like Funk Master Flex of the mid to late '90s.
Yeah, exactly.
That amazing that you do what you do now, coming from that, but also makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, Au revoir Simone, before we started writing our own song, we covered Heavy D and the Boys. What's the song? Uh, it's not called What's Love Got to Do It. Now I can't. Now That We Found Love.
Mm.
This is the song we covered, and we did like a dreamy cover of Now That We Found Love that we played at all our early shows.
I mean, now that we found love, what are we going to do within? Those
What
lyrics
are
make
we gonna do with it?
those kind of make sense as dreamy lyrics, actually.
Yeah, and we would like go off on these like kind of like harmony tangents with the do with it and like make all these layers with it. It's
Yeah,
really pretty.
yeah. And now I'm wondering who did the harmonies on that original track because those original track harmonies are pretty tight and of the new Jack Swing era.
Oh my God, so tight.
Yeah. Okay. So you had a, so you spent a lot of time like just teaching yourself how to play keyboards. What were you listening to? What were you playing along with in your younger ages?
Hmm, that's an interesting question. Mostly just making up songs, kind of like we always said like Au revoir Simone didn't really have any influences. We would like kind of make them up for interviews or press releases, but really we were just listening to the sounds of the keyboards and doing what the keyboards told us to do. So that was kind of where I was at with that keyboard. I never really like learned songs on the keyboard, but we did have piano books and I would learn these like movie theme songs that I had never heard or knew, like from the 70s, because we just inherited all these piano books and I would just play whatever was in there. And I was really bad at sight reading, like terrible at sight reading. So I don't even know if it would ever like come out intact.
I mean,
But what would,
the fact that you're
oh,
sight reading score to movies you've never seen, still very impressive.
it shows that I'm a nerd. I was very motivated. I was very motivated to play piano. But at that time in my house, my dad's from Detroit, so he put on a lot of Motown. So we listened to a lot of like, gosh, just that early Motown. What was on? There was like, and the Beatles, and then also kind of like, yeah, my mom was like into the Eagles and like Don Henley, and we would listen to the kind of just like, oh, Paul Simon's Graceland was huge in our house
I
because it
mean,
wasn't so many houses.
yeah, I was gonna say that's definitely huge in my house too. Um, Oddly enough, one of my pandemic anxiety tethering songs was Boy in the Bubble.
Oh, yeah. Boy in a
Like
bubble.
like
That's
like
what we
that
were. We were all the boy in the bubble.
yeah, and that accordion riff just somehow was like did the right thing in my brain to like get me back to reality.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, how so I know I mean, oh, au revoir. I'm so bad with French. Au
Oh,
revoir,
it's
Simone.
from a Pee-wee's Big Adventure. You can say it however you want. There's no
Oh,
pressure.
yeah, I will. So I, it was a little weird to me that like the press release came like, and I think it was like 2 days later when Paul Rubens died, and I was like,
Mm.
this isn't sad coincidence,
Yeah.
but we, I mean, we all know where the name came from. And if we don't, we everyone knows now. Did before getting into the history of Wa Simone, did you reach out to the rest of the band when that happened?
Yeah, we had a little group text of broken hearts. So sad.
Yeah, it was. I learned more about Pee Wee Herman or Paul Rubens like in the post Pee Wee Herman days, and boy, he's just such a lovely guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend
But
was able to go to the memorial service, and he just said the whole thing was so touching about how Paul Rubens was just able to make everybody feel so special and so loved and just really valued his friendships and really made time to make people feel valued. And everybody was so impressed.
yeah, so I've seen you play solo one, and it was at South by Southwest on a bill with M Ward and Nico Trip.
Oh, the Twin Peaks showcase.
Yes,
Yeah.
which I
Things
didn't
have
real
changed.
fair. But to take it back to Paul Rubin, that same trip, uh, we went into like it was either Instagram or Twitter history on Paul Rubens and found a period where he was just recommending like mom and pop Austin restaurants.
Mm.
And because he does that. He did that like yeah, whenever he liked something he talked about it, which boggles my mind that he just made sure to do that. But here we use that as our like food finding path. Um and I had the most ridiculous donut of my life because of him. Because uh, it was a cream cheese filled donut with a piece of fried chicken on top.
Was that at the show? Because they were serving donuts at that show.
No, no, it was not. This was at a donut shop on a food truck, like in the outskirts of Austin, that we made sure to get to.
I'm glad you survived. I'm glad you didn't have a heart attack right there on the spot.
I was definitely uncomfortable for the rest of the day, but I was not uncomfortable while eating it. So, and you know, South by Southwest, you're getting plenty of cardio in. So,
You're hoofing all over town.
yeah, perfect. Um, so Afua Simone, um, how did you become one? Like, how did you find each other?
Well, Erica played in a band with my husband, who just walked by, called Dirty on Purpose. And and then we used to be four members, and then my friend Sung Bin and I were in a band, and then Erica was like, oh, I'm taking keyboard lessons, I want to start this keyboard club and just play keyboards all the time, because my favorite part of the lesson is when I jam with my teacher. But why don't I just jam all the time and not pay somebody to do it? Let's just have fun. So we decided to start this little keyboard club at her house, and then she invited her friend Heather, who I met at band practice, and the four of us would just sit around playing, covering Liz Phair and Heavy D and the Boys, etc.
Uh, so you were a keyboard club essentially. That's
Yes,
the, oddly enough feels very Pee Wee Herman still.
it does, right?
Yeah, like
We didn't have a name. We didn't have very many aspirations. We obviously we're all songwriters, and we come from writing song background separately, but so it was inevitable that we were going to eventually write songs, but we didn't really get into the swing of writing songs or having an identity until her keyboard teacher, who was in the band The Scene Is Now, invited us to open for him. So then we had to come up with a name. And from there, Heather had like watched Pee Wee's Big Adventure, not knowing it was my favorite movie, and just wrote down all these quotes from it. And we were, yeah, we picked that one because it was really romantic and like implied going for your dreams. I don't know if your listeners are familiar with this, but it's from a scene where Pee Wee is encouraging this woman who's in a quasi-abusive relationship to escape and to go to Paris and live her dreams. And he finds her on the bus, like having independently escaped the situation to go just live her best life. And he says, "Au revoir, Simone," because she says, "Au revoir, Pee Wee." Yeah, and so she moves on with her life, and we thought that was just a really great, just a great concept. Plus, you
Yeah,
could Google it with no other results showing up.
very important. Yeah, because you get the band and you get maybe the Pee Wee scene.
No, nothing. I remember it was like three results and it was all just weird spam.
Yeah, back in the
But that
day, it
was
was
also 2002, 2003 maybe.
true. It's funny. It's funny how it seemed like bands are more concerned with that in 2002 than they are now.
Now, yeah, now you find, oh,
Yeah, I guess it's harder to be like uniquely Googleable
I mean, even if you're
today.
a band, then there's like multiple versions of the band.
Yeah.
Even me, there's another Annie Hart.
Yep.
What can you
I am
do?
I am actually exclusively the only Dakin Hardwick on the band. So
Congratulations.
thank you. I think I might be one of like 7 people worldwide that can say that. Uh, so of Wastamone, you folks like kind of existed during what I like to call like the internet indie rock renaissance when there was just a lot of blogs, a lot of quick hype around anything that was like kind of cool and good and unique. Um, and I honestly can't pinpoint when you ended. How did the band end up like ceasing to exist?
Well, never say never.
Okay.
I'm still holding out a dream here. Um, so we put out our last record and we toured it. And I think, how did this even happen? That's an interesting thing. So we toured this tour, and I think it was Erica who said she wanted to take a break and she wanted to move on and do some other things. Then Heather was also like kind of ready to, she wanted to go to grad school and she was going to get a master's in biology or some kind of bio. Now I can't even remember because she didn't end up doing it. Um, she wanted to go to Stanford, and she had gotten her second undergrad at Columbia during all of Au Simone's like height of touring. I don't know how she did that.
Wow.
We toured a lot. And then, so that was the tour for Movement Spectrums, which came out in 2012, I think. Um, and so that was touring up until 2014. And then fast forward a couple years, David Lynch asked us to be in Twin Peaks. So we came out of the woodwork and decided to obviously be in it because who would not do that?
Yeah. Yeah. I am kind of curious how that came to be. I mean, I know David Lynch is a big music fan, period, and does really love synthesizers, but like how did he find you? What
Hmm.
was the impetus
He was
there?
like our biggest super fan ever. We did an event in New York City at Barnes and Noble called Upstairs at the Square, where they have authors read excerpt, do their book reading on their book tours, and then they would have a band and they would kind of like interview both the band and the reader alternately, or the author alternately. Um, and I come from a staunchly punk rock anti-corporate background, and I was always saying no. They kept asking us. I was like, no, 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 I don't want to do it. And then eventually, so glad we said no to all those prior ones, because eventually they were like, David Lynch wants to do one. And I was like, all right, fine, he's pretty cool, we'll do it. um no, we were actually pretty excited to do it. And so we did that event with him. It went well. And then after we all broke down and everything, broke our stuff down, not broke down crying, but put our instruments away. His people, his assistants, and the whole nine yards came up to us and they kept saying, David really likes you. And we're like, okay, cool. We like David too. He's awesome. And they're like, no, David really likes you. I'm like, okay, cool. Next thing we knew, he invited us to play his art opening in Paris, which was the most magical thing ever. He had this retrospective at the Cartier Foundation, and we like drank champagne on the roof with him and Julie Cruz while the Eiffel Tower was sparkling. It was really very surreal and magical, and we had a great time. And then we opened his club in Paris called Silencio. And furthermore, every stop he made on that book tour, there's videos of this on YouTube. He would tell everybody, I found out about this new band, Au revoir, Simone. And he would like tell everybody to listen to our band. And he got married and he like played our music as they was walking down the aisle. He just was like obsessed with us. Um, can't thank him enough for that, because that was the moment that our career took off. And we started getting more and more offers and we became a bigger band. So thank you, David.
He's in the other room. He says you're welcome.
He's in. So that's how that happened.
Wow, that's pretty beautiful. Yeah. So wait, so you kind of took off, but 2012 was your last record, right? Or my
Yeah, 2012 was our last record came out.
so all of this.
So this happened in 2006, 2007.
Oh, okay, I have my
This happened
timeline
after
mixed
Bird
up.
of Music.
Okay, okay, my timeline was a little fuzzy. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
from our second record.
Yeah, so Chronicles of Nine. So you're on the Twin Peaks reboot, which yeah, obviously you weren't on the original Twin Peaks because you would have been
I
like
was too
10.
young to watch it.
Yeah, I will confess I still never actually seen the show.
It's worth a watch.
That's what everybody says. Like at this point, I'm afraid to be disappointed now.
Oh, well,
I
I
mean,
don't know what to tell you. You might be disappointed, but is it better to be disappointed or to not have the possibility of experiencing something wonderful?
that is true. I did really enjoy Blue Velvet, which is my only David Lynch anything somehow.
Yeah, not Mulholland Drive.
No, I ended up. Okay, this is dumb. But there was another movie in theaters that was named after an LA street at the same time. And me and my friends thought we were going to Mulholland Drive, but bought tickets to the other considerably less popular movie. And somebody is going to listen to this and Google and find out. Somebody's going to listen to this thought with me and say, "Yeah, you idiot.
It
Yeah,
was a
I can't."
revival of Sunset Boulevard.
No, that would have been great. Actually, I would have been fine with that. Um, I can't remember what it was now, and I just remember like being deeply disappointed, and we realized that we got our movies mixed up. It happened.
Sorry, it does happen.
Yeah, it was
Happens all
even
the time to everyone. It's happened to everyone on this poor planet.
yeah, it was even on a road trip in LA, so like we'd been on both streets even. So anywho, okay, so so Bois Simone kind of petered out in its time because just life happened. And you obviously put out
a solo record, now multiple solo records. Uh, Also is digging around, and you've got into film score. And how did that transition happen?
Mm. So the transition from Au revoir Simone to my solo music was, uh, yeah, I guess I had started writing these songs for Au revoir Simone, and I sent them around, and Heather wrote back and she was like, if we don't do these, you really need to do it. These are really good songs. Don't shortchange the world by not releasing them. And I was like, what? Really? I was like, I don't have enough talent. I'm all by myself. This will never happen. But she really gave me a strong push to put it out. And I'm very grateful she did that because I don't think I would have continued if she hadn't. So from there, that was my first album. Um, and there was this music supervisor, Marissa Gallen, who was working on this film called Banana Split, which was starred Dylan Sprouse and Hannah Marks. And it was directed by this wonderful person who has now become my friend, Benjamin Kasolke. And Ben had not heard of Au revoir Simone at all, despite being like this super synth nerd and like music nerd in general. But Marissa suggested me for it, and he was like so nervous I was going to say no, but I've been really interested in scoring films for years. Au revoir Simone had done a little bit of it just for like some commercial work, um, and yeah, he asked me to do it. I don't know, and then I started telling people I was a film scorer, and then I started getting offers to do more things. But sadly, the first two features I did were released. One was came out. The premiere was like, well, it was actually at South by, but the it got bought by IFC, and so it was scheduled to roll out on Valentine's Day of 2020. And then the other one was about to hit theaters like March 19th, 2020. So both of those things were highly impacted by the lack of theater going at that time. So none of them saw the theater, but I got to see both of them in like premieres at their respective like these huge beautiful sound systems. And what's really motivating is hearing my sick synthesizer collection amplified at like mega volume and surround sound. It sounds so good. It's the
That
coolest job ever.
that does sound kind of amazing, man. Oh yeah, also to jump back a little bit to that South by Southwest show, realizing that you were pushed into doing this solo. There's so you shared a bill with Nico Case, who is hard to shake, like a pretty intense, captivating performer. But the moment that I keep replaying and how like weirdly like it was just uncomfortable enough to be super memorable. It was you and you came out in an all black bodysuit and just walked through the crowd with a microphone singing, and like it was so like it's one of those like unshakable like live performance memories.
Wow.
And like I just keep like going back to like like you not only like you broke the third wall, of course, but like it just in such like a ferocious way, and it was just you alone. And the fact that you're wearing like a form-fitting all black bodysuit, so it was just like it was almost too personal for a second. And I was
Mm.
like, this is both great and I'm uncomfortable, and this is great.
Some people get really uncomfortable when I do that. They hate
Yeah.
being looked at and they hate people coming up to them. But I kind of have expanded on that. I've lost the bodysuit, which kind of sucks because the reason I wore the bodysuit is because I hate clothes. I
Mhm.
hate fashion. I hate everything fashion represents. I hate like signifying you're from a tribe with fashion. I hate that we can't just like unequivocally like judge each other based on the content of their character, as MLK so wonderfully said one time. You know, like I I really I hate that. Like when I was in high school, I shaved my head. I didn't want anybody to associate me with like femininity or like what is femininity? Why would we have to have long hair to be feminine? It's so stupid, all these arbitrary societal rules. So that's what the bodysuit came from because if from my mind, wearing like a turtleneck thing that covers you completely black with no markings of anything, I guess, other than modern dance, which I was clearly
Mhm.
not a modern dancer, to me, mm, made me feel, maybe it wasn't true, but as much of a blank slate as possible.
Yeah,
So that's why I did that.
I get it. It's funny because like the feeling in my mind was the opposite was this is like as much purely me as you can possibly get
Mm. Well,
because
yeah, well, purely me.
yeah, because
Yes,
like
with no artifice.
yes, yes, because like you were effectively you weren't naked, but you were as naked as you could be in a crowded room legally.
Kind of, but also still totally covered up.
Yeah, like it's weird. Anywho, yeah, just yeah. So I'm grateful to have that memory. In fact, like again, when like I got the email, like it all like flooded back to me. It was like,
Wow, that's
oh
so
yeah,
cool.
that moment was, geez, that moment was intense.
I actually made
Um,
somebody really uncomfortable at that show because I saw this woman looking at me with these kind of like sad eyes, and I gave her a bit of a hug, and she came up to me after the show that she felt very violated by that. And I was so surprised and obviously felt terrible about it, and I apologized, and I never did it again. But I was just like, wow, I didn't realize. I don't know. I was
funny
really glad.
because I remember that hug.
Well,
It,
somebody like came on top of me. Some other woman, like, kind of like not like clobbered me, but like came on top of me and hugged me on the ground at that show, which I was just like, oh, okay, I guess we're going there. Was that the
yeah,
hug or was it the other hug?
I think no, because I remember the face of discomfort.
Hmm. I'm sorry, person. I didn't mean to make you upset.
Okay, I'm realizing that like if you hugged me, since I was so taken aback by this, that I don't know if I would have re-embraced or would have been, oh, whoa, I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
She looked
It,
like she really needed a hug. I misinterpreted the situation.
it happens to all of us. I'm a hugger too, and for the most part, I try to be safe with hugs. But yeah, every once in a while it happens.
Yeah.
Um,
Ah.
so anywho, so to speed along to the now.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
rejiggered the outfit and the walkthrough. I no longer stare people in the eyes, hug them, or wear a bodysuit.
Okay, I'm still excited. Again, this is not interesting to the listener, but I'm sad I wasn't able to go to that house show you did last week. But
Oh, I really am sorry too because it was really amazing and special. But next
yeah,
time.
next time I'll be there. But yeah, so you put out a solo record that's fantastic and widely varied, and I'm enjoying it. And noticing other elements of your tour date, you are the Fred Armisen opener of summer and fall somehow, including
Yeah.
including touring. Actually, what I really want to know is how's it doing shows in Alaska? Because
So cool.
hardly anyone gets to do that.
Alaska is so beautiful. It's just unbelievably beautiful. I had never been in a place quite as beautiful as that. You know, and I've been to like, the Swiss Alps, I think maybe come close, but it's just so beautiful. Unreal. But yeah, Fred was an Au revoir Simone fan. And he emailed us, like the general inbox. Oh, I just want to let you know I'm a fan, Fred. And we're like, okay, this is Fred Armisen. And so we reached out when we went to Portland, and then he was very kind. He always lends me his Rickenbacker bass whenever I play wherever he is around. He actually permalented me once, so now I can just take it around without him being bothered. But yeah, so I don't even remember how he asked me to do this. We did an event in LA together. We had been in touch, and he kept we we're friends, and so we texted, and he was like, "One day I really want to work with you. One day I really want to work with you." And I was like, "Oh, I hate asking like celebrity friends for favors. It makes me feel uncomfortable." But I did this residency, like a composing residency, and one of the things that came up was to like don't be shy about collaborating with people, and I was like, that's it. I'm going to ask Fred Armisen to collaborate with me. I really like his work, and I'm going to go just ask him. And I did. And he was like, sure, let's do something together in June in LA. And he flew me out to LA. And actually, Heather from Au Revoir Simone came too. She sang with me, played some songs together. And then from there, I don't know, he just kept asking me to do more.
That's awesome. So, and are these sets like you're just doing your set and then he's doing his, I'm guessing his comedy for musicians thing?
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
then I come in and we play like he plays, I don't know if you know my song Hard to Be Still. He plays drums on Hard to Be Still, and then he has me act in a skit that he wrote.
Is it the skit where you're trying to figure out where to have breakfast while on tour?
Yes. Did you see it?
Who have I seen him do it with? I saw him do it with what's the not Susanna Hoffs, the other guitar player in the Bangles, spacing on her name. Yeah,
I don't remember anything. Not Susanna Hoff.
yeah. Why am I spacing on? I like that you're searching it. It looks like
I
it
am
sounds like
because I can't remember anything.
yeah.
And
Well,
now I'm getting pop-up windows. Dakin, this isn't working.
oh well. Wait, I have an internet too. Uh,
Vicky Peterson.
yes, yes, and she was great at it. But yeah, also I remember that show. He really, I mean, he's such a nerd, but he like went deep into kind of an obscure Bengals track, and specifically asked deep questions about the guitar solo of a fairly obscure Bengals track.
Did
And
she remember?
yes, she did,
That's
which is
cool.
yeah.
I definitely feel like I don't know. I'm not as up on my music history or band members to like hold a conversation with him about that topic.
Fair. You found other things to talk about with him, I'm sure. So he's also, from what I've got, I would love to have him on this thing. It would have to be like 3 hours long. But nonetheless, I'm really like, I just want to see where all he can nerd out to. Because,
Everything.
yeah, like, yeah. Anywho, all right. So you've already done, so you're about to do an East Coast leg of touring, both with Fred and without Fred. What is
And with
the,
Andrew Savage from Parquet
oh,
Courts.
oh, that's awesome.
Hmm.
Um, um, what is so you've got the two nerdiest New Yorkers you can find. What
Takes one to know one.
so it's the three nerdiest New Yorkers on Earth, which is saying a lot for New Yorkers. Um, I mean, there's a whole magazine about how nerdy you all are.
Real. But I'm pumped.
Thank you. Um, what what what's next for you other than
Other than those two tours,
yeah?
um, I am scoring a couple films, actually three films at the moment, all shorts. One is called Space Coast, and it is a documentary about the launching of the Artemis rocket and kind of like it's a philosophical look at what NASA means to our country today in the face of privatization or like, like what is this entity and what does it mean? And it's also kind of like a snapshot of the people who go to rocket launches, which is
Mhm.
really cool. It's not exactly heavy metal parking lot or spaceship parking lot, but it's got that vibe. And then Yeah, I'm doing a movie called Put to Sleep, which is sadly about the realities of becoming a veterinarian. Not a
Oh,
documentary, a narrative, but it's a beautiful movie, actually, short. And then, yeah, I think I'm also doing this one about like, do you know the book Ways of Seeing by John Berger? This is a classic it was a BBC special, and then he wrote a book version of it published through Penguin that kind of looks at images and what do images mean, both like culturally, influentially, symbolically, and kind of like philosophically. So this is kind of like it's a weird thing to say, but it's like a ways of seeing, but like about people taking pictures of their dogs
oh, that
and
is
like their pet.
fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating. It's a really cool little short. So I haven't started on that one yet, but I'm pretty sure that's on the horizon.
That's
And then I'm going to
exciting.
write another record. I've been
Hey,
requested to write another ambient one, and then but I have a bunch of pop songs I'm in the middle of writing too. But yeah, there's so much to do.
yeah, well,
How am I going to
oh,
do it all?
well, um, one thing at a time. All right, so this is where I do the important, the weight of a wave is
Mm,
in your local DSP and record stores and all that whatnot. Um, it's excellent and lovely. Um,
thank you.
and to do the last question, I'm gonna like play with it a little bit. What do you think the the Annie Hart that managed to take over the Casio tone keyboard all these many years ago? How'd she feel about the record?
That's a good question. I think I think she'd be down with it because she really liked to dance. And I think she'd be really impressed that grown-up Annie learned how to program the drums because she was just hitting a button on the Casio, and that was cool. But oddly enough, I would like to say one of the tracks on the record, Crowded Cloud, has a Casio beat as the drum beat because the Casio beats are so awesome.
They kind of are.
Oh, they really are. You should go down the YouTube rabbit hole of seeing the woman who programmed them. She was a genius.
Ooh,
It's a really, really good watch. But yeah, I think she'd dig it because, you know, I stayed true to my roots, and I think there's a lot to, a lot to relate to.
excellent. Cool. Well, Annie, thanks for chatting with me.
Thank you so much for telling people about my music. I really appreciate it.
Oh, of course. Thank you for asking before hugging, even though we're on different sides of the country. Um, uh, and cool. All right, I will get this edited and probably up sometime next week.
Great.
I may even try to find a link to that documentary about programming Casio beats and link it in
Oh
there
yeah, I'll
when
see if I
shared.
can forward that to you. There's a bunch
Excellent. Excellent. That's right. We actually have each other's real email addresses, which never happens for these. It's always, yeah.
via publicists.
Yes.
Yeah,
Don't even know if your publicist actually knows this happened or not today. I'm not sure.
hopefully.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I need to move on with the rest of my day. Thank you so much. This was amazing. You were lovelier to chat with than I expected, and I was expecting it to be lovely. So,
Oh, thank you so much. Right back at you.
all right. Have a good rest of your week and everything.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Bye.
I'd like to thank Annie Hart once again for coming on the show. The new album is once again called The Weight of a Wave. It is available to you wherever you wish to find music, including all the DSPs. And I guess there's a handful left of a super fancy, swanky edition at Rough Trade Records in New York, which you can also buy online. And to answer your question, well, our question, it appears that the chorus to Now That We Found Love by Heavy D and the Boys was performed by Aaron Hall, and Terry Riley, 2/3 of the New Jack Swing groundbreaking act Guy. Once again, Aaron Hall and Terry Riley of Guy sang the chorus to Now That We Found Love by Heavy D and the Boys, which I did not realize was an OJ's cover. So, the internet is good for some things, including getting this podcast to you. And yeah, that's it. We're going to take you out with a little bit of one more song, What Makes Me Me by the great Annie Hart. Have a good September. And maybe you'll hear from me again in September, maybe you won't. I don't know.